Hello there. Here's another one of those little jobs which at first seem quite simple, but once you start getting into it and examining some of the components, it can seem quite confusing. We're going to assemble a 7-inch headlight. Here are the components that you need to assemble one headlight. This is the Bold 7 part number, which you can find in a catalogue. It's got the chrome plated steel rim, the moulded plastic nest and a rubber gasket to seal it against the bodywork. Here's a light unit with a side light hole and a hole for the main bulb. This is the little fixing kit that comes with the Bold 7 part number. Here there are 2 sets of spring steel fixing plates that hold the headlamp unit into the chrome rim. Now, depending on which type of headlamp unit you have, you can choose either of those sets of clips, whichever is most appropriate. And there are 3 little self-tapping screws that hold the clips into these little plates on the rim. These 2 here are the adjusting screws to adjust the beam direction in a horizontal and vertical plane. These 3 self-tappers here are screws for mounting the bowl in the bodywork of the car. Here is a little rubber grommet that takes the wires through the bowl and prevents them chafing. There's a hole in the bowl for that little grommet to fit. There are 4 bullet terminals and 2 straight bullet connectors. So how does it all go together? Let's start with the bowl or nest. On the bowl there are some raised bosses with holes in. They're like these on the front and like these 2 on the back. Now these are the only 2 on the back of the bowl. That one there and that one there. And these 2 are where the adjuster screws screw into from the front. So we find the 2 adjuster screws and we'll screw them into these 2 holes. We need a screwdriver, a posi, and they cut their own thread through those plastic holes. So I'm screwing the adjuster screws in from the front until they're about halfway through. There'll be about 12 mil sticking out of the front and 6 mil sticking out the back of the boss. Okay, onto the lens retaining ring. Now you see on the outside of the ring there are 3 angled slots. One at the bottom here, one on the side, one at the top. But we're only going to use 2 of those. But which 2? So let's have a look at our bowl once again. And the 2 adjuster screws here and here. This one here will be the vertical adjustment screw. As it goes in and out, it will tip the lamp forwards and backwards. This one on this side will be the left and right adjustment screw. As it goes in and out, it will tip the lamp left or right. Now at the bottom of the bowl here is a plastic boss, and on the rim there are 2 single holes. You see that one there in little brackets, one there and one round here. One of those holes will mount the ring onto this boss on the bowl down here. So to find out which one it's going to be, experiment with the rim. Assemble it to the bowl, putting two of the slots on the adjuster screws. And then have a look and see if the little hold bracket at the bottom lines up with the plastic pillar on the front of the bowl. And it does. So those are the correct two slotted holes to use in the rim on the mounting screws, adjusting screws, and that is the mounting screw there, which is held in place with a little self tapper. So this adjuster is obviously at the top of the headlight when you come to mount it in the bodywork. This one's 90 degrees to the side. So you've got your up and down adjustment and your left and right adjustment on these two screws here. So to avoid confusion, let's just take a magic marker and we'll put T for the top of the rim on the vertical adjuster screw position. So to mount the lens in the retaining ring, it's pretty obvious which is top and bottom. There's the writing across there, the bar across the lens, all the filaments are horizontal and the lines at the top of the lens are vertical. So it's pretty obvious which is the top of the lens. And we've got T marked on the rim, so we just slot the lens in there, pretty much adjusted so that the top adjuster screw is going to be in line with the top of the lens. You can adjust this slightly later on, but that's the rough position for starters. Okay, let's turn it over and you'll see on the back of the lens, the moulded part, there are three slightly raised parts of the moulding, little ledges moulded into the rear of the reflector. One there, one there and one there, and these line up with three holes in little folded parts of the rim. So we're going to select which of these two sets of mounting clips are going to be the best ones to use for this rim and bowl combination. Straight away I'm looking at these larger ones. Just lay it on there and it looks perfect. The hole lines up and the bracket will mount just over those raised parts and the reflector moulding. So we can screw it together with the little screws, little self tappers from the front into the little brackets. One, two, there's the screw, there's the bracket, and the last one. Before it's fully tight, we can just twist it a little bit, get it all to line up. And number three, there we go. That's the lens mounted in the mounting ring, and the vertical lines on the lens pretty much line up with the top adjuster screw slot here. We can tighten those up. So let's put the bulb in. This is our part number bulb 7, a 55 watt 60-watt main and dip light, and it can only go in one way. There are 3 tabs on the light bulb that line up with 3 tabs on the reflector, and there's a little spring that retains it and holds it in place. This fits over a little tab on that side, and just open it up, spring it in place around the 2 other tabs on this side. We can put the headlamp plug on the back, HLPLG, just push it straight on. There's your fly leads for connecting up, and as I say, the colours of these, red, yellow and blue, are in the catalogue. Tells you where they go, which one's main, dip and earth. And here is the side light. It's got a live and an earth wire on it, and it just pushes into that little hole in the reflector. There we go. Back to the bowl. Here you can see there's a little hole. This is the hole for the little wiring grommet. Push it in from the inside outwards. And give it a pull. It's got a little groove in it that locates it and locks it in that hole. Now, to put the headlamp in the nest, we find the 2 adjuster brackets once again, there and there, the top and the side. We'll feed all the wires through. I won't do that now, I'll just poke them in. Feed the wires through the grommet. You can put sleeves on there so that it's insulated and a little bit more waterproof, or you can extend the wires a little bit more if you want to. So let's line up the adjuster screws with the slotted holes in the retaining ring. First the right hand side one, and then slide in the top one. If you take a close look at the adjuster screws, you'll see they have a groove cut around the head of the screw. The little slot in the rim is located on the groove in the screw, which keeps it in position. As you move the screw in and out, it moves the rim in and out. That's the side one. Now we just locate the top one and slide it in. There it is. Now we can rotate the whole lot until we come to the little bracket which sits above the raised moulding on the front side of the nest. And we just keep it all in place with a little self tapper. There we go. Headlamps mounted in the nest. Now the rubber gasket, the part that sits between the nest and the body of the car, has a thicker part on the outside and a thinner kind of web on the inside, which seals against the bowl. So we'll turn it over so that the complete flat side is touching the car body, and we turn it round until we find that the holes in it line up with the 2 adjuster screw pillars there, and all the other holes line up with other holes in the nest. And there are 3 self tappers supplied with the Bowl 7, which you can use to secure the headlamp to the body, or you can use nuts and bolts on rib nuts. Choice is yours, the way you mount it. Now once your headlamp is mounted in the car and it's adjusted so your main and dip and headlamp direction are perfect, you can then fit one of these, a chrome rim, which is our part number HL Rim 8. This is a chrome rim that goes over the outside to cover all the fixing holes and the face of the nest, and it's secured with one screw, which screws into a radial boss which is moulded as part of the headlamp nest, and the rim just fixes to that boss with a self-tapping screw. So there you go, one assembled 7-inch headlamp unit.